So huge thanks for joining myself. I'm here with Mo or Murat from Your Success Podcast, More For You Properties, KHP, and Your Success Book.
Yeah, well remembered.
And probably a few other places and so forth as well. Is that quite tricky though, having so many hats on, Mo? You've got, you work with Anglos on Your Success Podcast and Your Success Book. Anglos Sanders?
Yep.
Sanders, yeah. Is that quite tricky to KHP and More View because they're split businesses, they're different partners, is that right?
Yes, so I've got one business partner in common between KHP and More View, and then obviously the book and the podcast with Anglos.
Is that public knowledge who it is?
Yeah, James
James
York. Yeah, James York, so I'm business partner in both More View and KHP. Is it tricky? It can be tricky sometimes balancing all the different demands, and especially when we were writing the book. That was sort of quite a lot of time out to do that, even though we did it sort of quite efficiently during taking ourselves at romantic weekends away. But to be honest, we've got really good teams in both, in fact, both businesses and also in the podcast book, because we outsource the audio editing, video editing, social media management, and all that kind of stuff. So really, just leveraging great teams in all three businesses is the way we do it.
So look, the talk on 2019, 24th of January at the Central London Evening Property Network is reflecting on 2018, your learnings. Do you want to go into a little bit more of that?
Yeah, well, I don't want to give too much away. Okay. But we learned a lot in 2018, both the property businesses and from doing the podcast and book and things like that, and the people we interviewed. So really,
and you've had some really interesting people who've been on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely, and
including the rugby star.
Ex-England rugby sevens captain. We've had like Hollywood actresses and ex-Royal Marines and all, like loads of really, really interesting people, and a load of property people as well. So what have we learned from them? What have we learned from our own businesses? Property, business, that kind of stuff. That's what we'll be going through. And what's the plans for 2019? But I think more importantly, what can people take away and actually action in their own business or their own property development companies?
Do you want to just give people an out view of, because they may not come across you?
Yeah.
I don't know how I came across you, but I did. I
actually just went to the coffee shop that we had when we first met.
Oh, really? Notes? I like Notes.
Yeah. When was that? A year ago? Probably a year ago. So basically, based in Plymouth. The property business is based in Plymouth. I actually live in London, but I'm down there 3 days a week. We do HMO, service accommodation.
3 days a week?
Yeah, Plymouth 3 days a week. HMO, service accommodation. We do HMO refurbs for investors and for ourselves. We do developments, so conversions of listed buildings and other sort of unloved buildings into flats or HMOs that we hold on to. Full-time in property, have been since 2016.
And strategies, is it all build to hold or build to sell?
A mixture. Yeah, it depends on the site. Generally, if it's apartments, we'll sell them. If it's into HMOs, we'll hold on to it. That's how we like to look at it.
So, what you're working on now, one of the things which I've seen is the chapel.
Yeah.
And you're turning that into 30?
Yeah, 30 HMO rooms across 6 flats, yeah.
So, I'm sure that's going to come up in the presentation at some point on 24th. What will Anglos be bringing to this presentation?
So Anglos is so together we're going to talk about the podcast and the book and what we've learned from all the people that we've interviewed. What he's going to bring as well, because he's into property and he's doing a lot of cool stuff in Plymouth as well. So he'll be talking about some of his projects, what's gone well, what hasn't gone so well.
What's his strategy?
So his strategy is at the moment he's got HMOs and other units, but he's doing multi-unit blocks at the minute. So blocks of flats that you buy it as a block and then you split it down into individual flats and then hold on to them and rent them out. He's doing that across a few units.
So Mo, how can people find out more about Your Success Podcast, Your Success Book?
So yoursuccesspodcast.com is the website. You can look for Your Success Podcast on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So it used to be called Pig Pods. So Pig was Professional Investment Group is the networking group that Anglos runs. He's in Plymouth and
Exeter.
Not Exeter, in Cornwall. Yeah, so he's in those 2 sites at the minute, running that event. So when we started the podcast, we started it as a sort of a branch of that, and then we sort of changed it around because we didn't want it to just be about property and business. We wanted it to be general, sort of more holistically about success. So
look, you've heard how to hear a little bit more about Mo and Anglos. Of course, come along to the 24th of January, Central London Evening Property Network.
Yeah.
I think it's the first one of the year.
Okay,
you've been
cool.
booked into. Is
Yeah,
that right, Mo?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
well, for me, sorry.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm actually going skiing until the 5th, I think. So yeah, I'll be out till the 5th and then back into it. Yep.
So I look forward to seeing you, and I look forward to seeing both Anglos for the first time. I've seen Mo's developments. As I say, is it Chapel Street?
It's Wyndham Street
Wyndham
East.
Street East, which is a former chapel converted into, as I say, 30
We've got some really cool progress shots as well on that, so we'll go through that. Yep.
Brilliant. So thank you, and thank you.
Thanks, Brendan.